Ladies and gentlemen of the old world, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to this community showdown. It's going to be Lemur facing off against Grombrindle here on the battle for Itza, Chaos Dwarves versus Dwarves. And yes, the power fantasy is here. It is going to be double Dreadquake Mortar. Now, I'm curious about this because normally double Dreadquake would be very risky because Dwarves pretty much across the board in this matchup come at least with 2 or 3 cannons. Which I think the Dreadquakes would maybe lose to, but maybe double Dreadquake is enough critical mass that they can bombard and snipe the cannons. Because they have the same range, so kind of an interesting idea, actually. So double Dreadquake, okay. Forbidden stuff. Front line's going to be chaff, secondary line's going to be chaff with armor piercing, and then more AP in the back line. Pretty standard stuff, but we do also have Drazhoath the Ashen, super badass. He has the Flames of Asgore, which is good at one-shotting, like, good quality infantry. So when they call out Grimdelvers or, like, Slayers or something, you bombard them. And, yeah, he's an anti-infantry fighter as well with some decent armor. Now, looking at the armies of the Great Grombrindle, it's going to be a front battle line of Dwarf Warriors backed up by some blasting charges. Thunders, Thunders, and Thunderers. That is not what you want to be presenting on the field against frickin' Dreadquakes. Oh, no. It's already huge damage into the Dwarven army, and his formations aren't making it. Yeah, he's like got like the tight box formations. Oh, God. All right, well, this is what we're here for. This is the power fantasy. This is like us getting to pretend we're playing campaign here. All right, so double Dreadquake's going to be shooting. Grombrindle definitely needs to go wide, and it looks like he has done it with these guys. This formation needs to be split up. Yeah, he did that. Because you can kind of dodge these shots, although, oh, God, the carnage! As another Slayer Pirate still gets it, and a Slayer Pirate, and this one does get tagged as well. All right, so Malachi Makaisen, he's rushing in. He's trying to get his long shots onto the Dreadquake, but he's realizing he's not going to be able to close the distance before Drazhoath the Ashen one is going to catch him. Dreadquakes are probably going to do a lot of friendly fire as well, but so far they've done devastating damage against the Dwarvish battle lines. And here comes another one, and kaboom, right on top of the Long Drong's Slayer Pirates. So the Orc Laborers are an interesting one. They do have decent AP values, but are a little bit expensive, and they do get folded by blasting charges. But although that didn't do that much damage, maybe the loose formation is something. Gyrocopter's on their way in. It's going to be the Skyhammer. Is he going to go and try and snipe the old Dreadquakes with his machine gun, or is he going to use them to take down the good quality infantry? I don't really care too much about the tactics of this game. More so, that's of course a joke, but we want to watch the Dreadquake. So one shot there, another shot is going to be missing there. Blasting charges into the Orc Laborers, but the Chaos Dwarf Great Weapon units should be able to crush the Dwarf Warriors and trade well into the Miners as well. Really nice Skyhammer bombardment. So the Dwarves are going to be unleashing their own salvos of advanced technology as they do bombard those units, and now the Kadai Fireborn are going to get called in. Granted, they should get folded up by all these Thunders. These basic gun units should be very, very good against those. So Skyhammer Squadron flying in the back. If you are Lemur's Bane, you're probably going to be calling out a Blunderbuss and or an Infernal Guard Fireglaive right now to deal with this. Because losing these Dreadquake Mortars is a big part of your army. They're not cheap. And look how quickly they die to the machine gun of the Skyhammer. And we do get an Infernal Guard Fireglaive being called out. So that should be able to deal with that. So they're going to be taking their shots and aiming up in the sky to go after the Gyrocopters. And is Grombrindle paying attention? Yes, he is. He's going to be able to get them away. Another shot right there. Grimdelver's getting folded up, it looks like. I think that was the Flames of Asgore in tandem with the Dreadquake Aftershock there. So double Gyro Bomber. So for the Dwarves, shutting these down, it's going to be tricky. You could take 2 Gyrocopters, approach through the trees, and do like a bombardment run on top of the Infernal Guard and maybe break them off and then get the shots. Drazhoath the Ashen one, chasing down Malachi, but being shot by a lot of guns. And you can see Grombrindle here doing a beautiful bombing run. He's actually been doing really good with his Skyhammer runs. And is he going to get another one up on the guys on the hill? It is a Chaos Dwarf Warrior unit. Looks like they have the movement order. So we're going to be watching some Apocalypse now as these guys do get Last Samurai. And where is the bombardment run? Is he going to do it, or is it a blue ball? I think it's a partial blue ball there. He's probably out of ammunition. We've been seeing him do the bombardment runs all day. He's actually got 2 uses left. Okay. So we'll see it at some point. Dwarven lines, though, getting hammered by those Dreadquake Mortars, and the Chaos Dwarves are going to be securing the outside objective with a couple Warriors and or Laborers, but the regular Dwarves able to endure this. And this is really the funny part about this matchup is, like, the regular Dwarves are so favored in many of the mainline fights that typically they can take beatings like that and still win these games, you know? Drazhoath the Ashen one, going to be chasing down Malachi. He's got 3,000 HP, Malachi at 4.6. He does have that nice anti-infantry attack, but he's got to be careful. These Thunders can definitely put some hurt down. Another Dreadquake shot, very dreaded over here on top of the Miners. And I really think what's been getting Grombrindle back in this game after a devastating start was the Gyrocopters, so the Bombers. They've been doing great damage. Nice direct hit on those Thunderers, and that's going to put him at negative 42 leadership. The Aftershock is really, really good stuff right there. Really tempts me to go I have a Dreadquake mortar for Chaos Dwarfs in my tabletop army. It's not painted yet, but I think I gotta get it painted up for some from tournament action. They're not very good, but hey, look, collateral damage coming down over here. Hitting an enemy unit in one of your labors, totally worth it. Although the Orc labors are a little bit more expensive to lose, you really just don't want to friendly fire your Chaos Dwarf warriors. So yeah, keep them back. That's a good play there by Lemur. He pulls back there. And the Gyro Bombers not going into the backfield because of the Infernal Chad Fireglaves. In the meantime, in the trees, we do have an Iron Demon being called out, which is going to be excellent against Grombrindle's build because Grombrindle doesn't really have cannons or traditional shooting online still. A couple Slayer Pirates, a Thunder sitting at maybe a little bit of HP somewhere, but aside from that, the shooting is going to be offline. So, I don't think we're going to get blue-balled this time. This looks like an intent to drop a bombardment right there, and he's going to be doing it. Beautiful, perfect bombardment there by Grombrindle. Clearly, you can see the Dwarf mains in action, as that does some fat damage. Now, that second one, not so much because they were in a loose formation, but honestly, that might be enough. Dreadquakes, though, are returning the favor. These guys are close to breaking, sitting at 6 leadership right there, as the Chowie warriors do attempt to chase them down. Blasting charge is going to be coming in on the evil cousins. Now, the fun thing about Chaos Dwarves is they do have fire resistance, so a little bit of mitigation against blasting charges in tandem with their armor, and they're withering the fire and the brimstone pretty well, all things considered. High ground is owned by Chaos Dwarves. The middle objective is going to be owned by the regular Dwarves, but the Dreadquakes are going to be dreaded, and oh man, another nice hit on the Dragonback Slayers. How much ammo are we looking at on these guys? They probably come close to paying for themselves. So 1,900 paid for itself, and the other one is at 2,800. God damn. Grombrindle does usually bring some pretty expensive units. He likes to play more elite. And, oh, God. Look, I mean, that's one way to fulfill your oath, just getting hit by modern weaponry. There you go, in a fantasy setting. Now, the Demon Train. I think the Chaos Dwarves are actually going to start taking this game over. The fact that the regular Dwarves are not using any sort of cannons is really going to allow the Chaos Dwarves to feast. And that was how the matchup was when the Chaos Dwarves first came out, because Magma Cannons defeated regular cannons. So that basically gave the Chaos Dwarves the artillery advantage, which was huge, and they could get away with war crimes like this back here. But now with cannons dominating Magma Cannons as well as Dreadquakes. Although in this map you could maybe do something. You could like put the Dreadquakes like behind the tree line here. I don't know how they would shoot over. You'd have to test it beforehand, but there might be some tech to play against cannons with Dreadquakes. And that's what's really cool about Dom is like some maps open up builds that you normally couldn't use, right? All right, backside here, Infernal Guard Fireglaves going to be shooting up into the Gyro Bombers and doing a little bit of damage. Over here, a couple Sneaky Gits do arrive in time, and Sneaky Gits will beat these miners, assuming they don't get blasting charge too badly. But they do maintain the capture weight, so the Chaos Dwarves do have a triple pin here on Grombrindle. Meanwhile, the Demon Train going to be chasing down Malachi Makaisen. Not a bad choice, but probably using him to just go after, these are Grimdelvers or just regular Thunders. Okay, that's not going to be too bad. I would imagine the Dreadquake's going to be unsummoned now and get a little bit of a refund, which is nice. So you can see the supplies coming in from Lemur's Bane. So when you unsummon units, you get a refund based on their remaining health. So if you've used a cannon to its full potential, used all of its ammunition, you can unsummon it and get a partial refund, which is nice. But the Demon Train now going to be engaging versus Slayers. It looks like it did take down the last of those units right there. And there you go. That's a nice shot. The shooting of Iron Demons just, I think, makes them so much better than Skullcrackers. Yeah, Skullcrackers are slightly better in melee, but just the shooting ability of the Iron Demon is good. Although it does look like Lemur maybe forgot about this unit here, and it maybe will be paying the troll toll. So Fireborn coming out. I do like the Sneaky Gits because of their stock ability. They're going to be able to close the distance on the guns. What you would want to do is use the terrain, like move this way and then collapse on the side so that if they do see you, they have to waste time turning and reforming ranks. And then, once you have them trapped down in melee, the Fireborn will rip them to shreds pretty easily. But honestly, looking pretty over. I think the Chaos Dwarves have basically tabled the regular Dwarves. There's a little bit of fast forwarding here, but I really don't see too much of a chance. That was a pretty hog-wild game, guys. So, Skirmishers getting range. Thunder's going to be shut down. Slayers also trade pretty badly into Sneaky Gits because of the high weapon strength and the bonus versus infantry. And Slayers just aren't very good against infantry in general. But this is a rock hard triple cap. And it's going to be Chaos Dwarf Warrior. Great weapons being spammed out in droves, which are basically going to beat the Slayers that are being spammed out. So I don't want to insult you guys. I don't think there's any chance here that the regular Dwarves can come back. And Dwarves are the comeback kings. But yeah, that's going to be a victory for the Disciples of Fashut. That's really, really fast for a domination game. And I think all of our power fantasies have been fulfilled. Seeing the dreaded double Dreadquake actually do work. And 2,600, 2,800. You got to love it when elite, uber expensive stuff does well. It's fun. That usually isn't considered to be good, right? Drazoth was fine. He was just like a cheap caster character. Nothing too exciting about him. Kadai, and obviously this is the one weak point maybe in the build is only having one of these. Sometimes you might need two guns because if these guys had been taken offline somehow, then you have nothing to defend your artillery. So having a little bit of a contingency of like one blunderbuss or one more shooting unit, and I think that would have been pretty perfect there. But yeah, really fun. Great Skyhammer play too. That thing did quite good, but the Dreadquakes were just too dreaded and it was too much. GG, well played, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed that one, and we will be back with more action soon.